What's up, everybody? Welcome back this time for another review, this time of week 13 of the NFL season from a DFS perspective. Of course, I'm Mike Murray. I appreciate you guys for checking out my content. If you enjoy the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, let me know down below what you got right, what you got wrong. For me, last week we got a lot wrong, pretty much everything wrong. Just one of those weeks. These weeks happen when you play DFS, where you just get nothing right, nothing goes your way. It is what it is. That's why you play for the same amount of money every week. You're gonna have, if you're a pretty good player, you're lucky if you have like two big weeks every season, and you're kind of just hoping to break even on all the other weeks. Kind of goes back and forth between barely cashing, not cashing. It is what it is. You can't get discouraged. You got to know this going into it. I'm going to do something a little different here. Like, I don't really want to waste everybody's time going over everything, I got wrong, because it was pretty much everything I was on. Nothing really hit. I was on, LA Rams at Arizona a little bit, but I didn't see Higbee doing what he did. I had him on one team. Stupidly, I got on Johnny Smith over Doyle and Higbee. That was overthinking it, man. That was really stupid. We are going to break down the winning Million Maker team, talk about some of the trends and what the guys' team looked like, or the girls' team. I don't know, their team looked like. But yeah, man, that was a weird week of football. Nothing too exciting. Maybe that's just because my fantasy teams didn't do very good. But guys, it's already week 14. The season's flown by. I mean, I had a best ball team in the playoffs of the Play Draft Championships. I didn't advance to the next round by like 14 points, and of course, it's pretty much Christian McCaffrey got me 10 points this week. He's usually good for 30. If he had got me to 30, I would have advanced, but he didn't, and that's the way this goes, man. What are you gonna do? A lot of you guys probably got knocked out of your playoff leagues if you had like Tampa Bay passing game or McCaffrey. They did terrible this week, but that's how fantasy goes. It's totally unpredictable, and you never know what's gonna happen. So we're just gonna break down the winning Million Maker team, then do a quick look ahead to next week. I have checked out the slate next week. I do think it's a little bit of a challenging slate. We do need some news to drop later in the week, but I do like it. I kind of have my like we'll get to that later. I have an angle next week, couple angles that I will share with you guys. So this is the winning Billy. Well, actually, it wasn't. It was a split, but this was the winning team. So these guys split first and second place. They each got $550,000. So he had Carson Wentz as his quarterback, McCaffrey as his running back, Miles Sanders, Devontae Adams, Devontae Parker, D.D. Westbrook, Tyler Higbee, Alshon Jeffrey, and the Kansas City Chiefs defense put up 229 points, basically 228.9 to be exact. So he went with a four-man game stack, which is very interesting that he stacked Wentz with Sanders and Jeffrey. I thought, I liked Aguilar's matchup more, but I just kept telling myself, like, man, Aguilar and Jeffrey should not be within $700 of each other's price. There's just no way. Like, Jeffrey's a far superior player. That's interesting though. I probably wouldn't have stacked Wentz with Sanders and Jeffrey. I probably would have went with two receivers, but hey, kudos to this guy because he made it work, and uh, you know McCaffrey busted. You don't need a perfect team to win the million. Devontae Adams, pretty easy to see. He was chalk. His big low owned play of the week was. Wow, this is interesting, man. He only had one play around 5% ownership, and it was a Chiefs defense that was 6% owned. So this is a good lesson to learn, guys. You don't need to go so out of your way to make sure you're on crazy stuff, man. You got to play the right plays. I mean, all his receivers were basically 10, 12% owned or higher. Adams was 27%. Parker was 12%. That was surprising. I was surprised to see some people in the industry thought the Philadelphia pass defense had improved. I was in the middle. I didn't know whether to attack. I did say you could play Parker here. I just, I wasn't sure. Philly had been playing really good defense lately. D.D. Westbrook came in at 11.5% ownership. Here's something to monitor. Tampa Bay's outside corners, to my eyes, have improved. You attack Tampa now through the slot. That's where, at least that's what I see. So remember that going forward. Tampa Bay is getting attacked very, you know, I think the slot is where we're going to be attacking Tampa Bay now. Higbee against the Cardinals. Cardinals can't stop tight ends, and people like, short intermediate possession receivers. Robert Woods. I thought Cooper Kupp was going to have the big game. It was Woods and Higbee. Kupp will have another big game this year. I'm not worried about that. The Chiefs defense, I did see them, guys. We always talk about this. When you play a defense, you usually want to play them at home in the Millie Maker. So good for him for going there. That was low owned against Oakland in bad conditions. Good, sharp play. Used the receiver as a flex, as we've talked about. The running back has usually been on the winning Millie Maker team. I think like over 55 or 60% of the time, it's usually a running back in the flex, not a receiver. But guys, always play the team you feel best about. You don't have to follow that stuff. That stuff is noise. You don't have to follow it. Yeah, the only thing that I found a little surprising here was that he went Wentz to Sanders and Jeffrey. I just, if I was making that team, I probably would have thought that was a little bit low upside. But hey, it worked. He liked that. Guys, sometimes you just got to attack a game environment. Philly can't defend boundary passes to the deep to the outside. That's what Parker does. Miami kind of really can't stop anybody on doing much of anything. So yeah, good for these two gentlemen. They split the million in the second place. I don't know what the second place was, but he's taking home $250,000. So good for them. Another thing I want to point out: the Giants' rush defense has really improved with Leonard Williams. They've committed to stopping the run, attack the Giants through the pass now. Yeah, so it was just a terrible week for me. I don't want to waste a lot of time. I'm on to week 14, and then week 16, like I've talked about. I'm really excited because I have that $1,500 ticket into the big main event. I love playing that. I wasn't sure if I was going to get to this year, but I got that big week from Chris Godwin and Leonard Fournette a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to be able to to get into that. That's why I really don't mind losing this week, man. I've already had like 2 big weeks this year. I'm hoping that all my luck is saved and all my good fortune is saved for week 16. If that's the case, hey, man, I'm not going to be remembering this week. I really don't care. That's what I will take, not that I want to lose, but I will take losing weeks if it means that all my good fortune is coming to me week 16. Because, guys, come on, there is a lot of skill involved in DFS, but there's an equal amount of good fortune and luck. I mean, anyone who tells you otherwise is just a doofus. It's probably 50-50, to be honest with you. It's a lot of skill, and you need a lot of good fortune to go your way. Okay? With that being said, guys, we are going to peek ahead to the next week's slate. I've looked at this. I've already made some teams. I like this slate. This is an interesting slate. We do need some news to drop with the whole Kansas City running back situation. Dalvin Cook sounds like he's going to play. We're not going to go through every game, but what I will tell you so far is that I do like the middle to low tier range of receivers. I think there's a lot of good receivers in this range, man. I really do. I think there's a lot of good options here, man. We're just going to highlight a couple people from some games. Carolina at Atlanta. Ron Rivera got fired today. They're changing to Norv Turner's son as coordinator. We don't know what this is going to do. This is a mystery. Kind of like DJ Moore here. Everyone's going to go to McCaffrey. I think the whole CMC for MVP thing is dead. I'm not sure if they're going to keep pounding the rock with him. In order for CMC to go off in this matchup, you would kind of need Atlanta to jump out ahead and them to feed McCaffrey through the passing game to play catch up. So definitely could happen. Here's a play that I like so far. Baltimore at Buffalo. I like Mark Ingram here for 5,900. I was on Mark Ingram this week. His snap share does concern me a little bit. Gus Edwards, it was getting a lot of run. It's very concerning. But I just have a feeling that that Baltimore is going to lean on the run here. Could be with Lamar, but I like Ingram here. I think Ingram's going to be busy all day. That he killed Buffalo the last time he played him with New Orleans. So I kind of think that Baltimore. I mean, I don't. This is my opinion. I think they're going to start leaning on the run here, and trying to just. This is a tough game though. But I think they're going to lean obviously on the run here. So that's why I like Ingram. 5,900 is too cheap for a ceiling. I'm going to talk about that game. Denver at Houston. Here's an angle. Cortland Sutton from Houston going back home. Listen, man, I don't like Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock is a bad quarterback. Let me check his price tag right now. Sorry, guys. Drew Lock's 5,100. Guys, Drew Lock threw for 134 passing yards. Yikes, man. I was not impressed with Drew Lock, but the angle I would play this from is because there's a guy like on the other side. I like Will Fuller a lot here, man. No one's gonna play him after the dud he put up Sunday night in primetime. We look what Mike Williams did to the Broncos. You attack the Broncos on the outside with number 2 receivers deep down the field. Scantling had a big game against Denver. Mike Williams had a big game against Denver on big, long vertical pass plays. I love Will Fuller here. Love Will Fuller here. 5,500 is a joke of a price, man. I love Will Fuller here. I'm going to say that again just to hammer it home. Hold on a second. Let me see what the gentleman's price is. You could play Kenny Stills if you wanted to. I'm going to stop that. I like mainly Will Fuller. I like one of those two guys here. Mainly Fuller, though. Guys, we know Houston can't stop anybody. Sutton's the exact type of receiver that it's not just the hometown narrative. Sutton's the type of receiver that Houston can't stop. The short to intermediate area of the field, the possession receiver. So I like Sutton a lot here. San Francisco at New Orleans. I like Michael Thomas in the defense. I think that's I'm not playing Kamara here. Just hasn't had a big game yet this season. San Francisco mainly does struggle against the run, but I don't know. I just don't feel good putting Kamara in my lineups. He just doesn't. I don't know. He's just not playing. I don't know. Could be a good play. Only $7K for Kamara is not a bad price tag. But Thomas and Kamara are both in play. I think one of those two guys is a big game here. Could play the defense too. Yeah, I don't want to go through every game, guys. Not going to talk about that game. Indianapolis at Tampa Bay. This is a tough one, man, because I might change my mind on this. This OJ Howard saw his season high in yards last week. You know, Indianapolis kind of funnels targets to the tight end. He's 3,200. I don't think he's ever been 3,200. I kind of like OJ Howard. You know, and if I was going to play one of the receivers, it has to be Chris Godwin. It just has to be. Godwin kills zone. Evans kills man. Colts are like the most zone-heavy team in the NFL. So I like Godwin, Jamison, Howard. Stack. You can even run it back. We got to get word on the Colts receivers. Very tough to tell because they got so many injuries. I will say if Paris Campbell comes back here and he's playing from the slot, I like Paris Campbell a lot here. 3,200 for it. Well, I don't know if I can play him coming off of an injury, but one of those guys could be in play here. The last game we're going to talk about is LAC at Jacksonville. Everyone's playing Fournette in this game. I don't know. I have to think about that. With Derwin James back, this defense looked a lot better. Sutton kind of had a little bit of a fluky game last week. You know, it wasn't fluky, but it was just, I don't know. I like Mike Williams a ton here, man. I really do. I love Mike Williams. Jacksonville plays a lot of man-to-man defense, and I think Williams can get deep down the field on them. Jacksonville gives up a lot of explosive plays, so it is a little bit scary trusting Phillip Rivers here on the road. But everyone's going to play Fournette here. I'm not saying not to. It would be more of a volume play. I do like Fournette more with Gardner Minshew than I do with Nick Foles. But, yeah, I can't pay for Phillip Rivers. But, yeah, I love Mike Williams in this matchup. It's a great, great spot for Mike Williams at a cheap price tag. But, guys, like I said, I kind of like that cheap range of receivers this week, that, like, 6.5K to, like, 4.5K. It sounds like a lot of people are getting on Darwin Thompson right now. We're going to have to wait and see with that because, yeah, not sure about that. You could also play Melvin Gordon against the Jaguars. Their rush defense is just absolute garbage, just absolute trash. So I like Melvin Gordon, Mike Williams from that game. That's gonna do it for the review video, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm sorry about the bad week. It happens. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna win every week, but let me know your first thoughts on the slate ahead, anything that you got wrong in the last slate, anything you learned. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Thank you, and I'll talk to you guys probably, I don't know, sometime, sometime, sometime probably at the end of the week. I like making the breakdown videos on Friday or Thursday when we get news because I don't want to be changing what I'm on. That's why I can make them on Wednesday or Thursday, but it's probably better to make them on Friday. So thank you very much. Have a nice day. God bless.